Sketch the graph of y equals secant of 2x minus pi minus 2. So the secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So we're going to actually start by graphing the corresponding cosine function, cosine of 2x minus pi minus 2. All right, so now we are going to, we'll start by finding our a, b, c, and d. So a is 1, b is 2, c is pi, and d is negative 2. And then from these we can find our key features. Our amplitude. Amplitude is the absolute value of a, which is 1. Our midline is y equals d, so y equals negative 2. From our amplitude and midline, we can get our minimum and maximums. So our minimum is the midline minus the amplitude, so negative 3. And our maximum is the midline plus the amplitude, so negative 1. Our period is 2 pi over the absolute value of b, so that's just pi. And then our phase shift, which will give us our starting point. And that's just c over b, which in this case is pi over 2. And now we're ready to start graphing. So I'm going to graph this, the cosine here in red. We'll start with our midline, which is down at y equals negative 2. So there's our midline. And then we can do our starting point. Now our starting point is going to be, our x-coordinate is the phase shift. And because we're doing a cosine, our starting point is going to be at either the maximum or the minimum. And since a is positive, we start at the maximum at negative 1. So x-coordinate is pi over 2, y-coordinate is negative 1. That's this point right here. Our period is pi, so from here we move pi to get our ending point. And halfway between those, we're going to get our minimum, which is down at negative 3. So there's our minimum point. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and try and draw this by hand. I am just so not great at keeping a steady hand, but we'll see what I can do. We have our, oh, that was pretty good. We have each of these waves. And that is the sketch of the cosine function. And that's, I mean, we're almost there. So with our cosine function, we then need to, we can now sketch our secant. And so the way we do that is we start by drawing our asymptotes. Our asymptotes are where this cosine function touches the midline. So I've got one over here. Touches the midline right there. There. So we've got a lot of different asymptotes here in this picture. So those are our asymptotes. And then we're going to, we just take each of the minimum and maximum points and flip it around, follow those asymptotes. And that's as much as we can do. So there in the black is the sketch of our function secant of 2x minus pi minus 2.